with you some of the material that I present in the program. I want to start by giving you some really great reasons why you should master FSBOs and expireds. The number one reason is because, as most of you know, even if you have not really called FSBOs and expireds in the past, and if you have, you will know that these are the prospects that typically give us some of the toughest objections. So when you commit to mastering FSBOs and expireds, everything else that you do in your sales business will become very easy. Basically, you're learning to master some of the toughest prospects out there. And in this program, and Dominate Your Market, my goal throughout the program is to make it easy for you to get excited and inspired and see all the opportunities and possibilities of growing your business with FSBOs and expireds. The other reason why you should master these two sources is that when you think about market shift, when you master both these sources of business, you will never be a product of the market. In bold, Diana teaches that, and obviously Gary and MREA as well, your database, your MES database is a foundational piece of your business. All of you should have a MES database of past clients and Sphere, which will create that strong business no matter what happens with the market. FSBOs and expireds, mastering these two will do the same thing, because think about this. When you're working in a buyer's market where there's a lot of inventory, typically in that kind of market, you're going to have more expired than for sale by owners, because there's a lot of inventory. Not everything is selling, so a lot of properties expired. You're always going to have some for sale by owners, even in a buyer's market. I've been in real estate licensed for 21 years, and when I first started selling real estate in South Florida, it was a buyer's market, and we had a huge amount of expired listings, and we did have some FSBOs, which actually the first couple of years my focus was much more on mastering FSBOs than expireds, even though there were more expireds. And then the market started to shift around 2000, 2001, and it became a very strong seller's market. So very low inventory now. So now we had fewer expireds. Still saw some expireds every single day, and there were a lot of for sale by owners. Why? Hot market, everyone thought they could sell on their own. And it's in this really hot market is when I actually excelled in listing for sale by owners, because I know that some agents have been coaching for the last 9, 10 years, and some agents believe it's really difficult to list for sale by owners when the market is hot. I've done that, and I've coached many clients to do that. And Dominate Your Market, I'm going to teach you all of the strategies, the tools, the scripts, the dialogues, so you can actually master FSBOs in a hot seller's market. The bottom line is hot market, slow market, buyer, seller's market, it doesn't matter. When you master these two sources, no matter what is happening with the market, you're going to have more of one, less of the other, or vice versa. So either way, you're going to be able to have consistent business. And here's the other great news about this. If one day you decide to pick up and move to another part of the country, FSBOs and expireds are everywhere. Your database is going to stay. Let's say if you live in Florida, you decide to move to Austin. Well, your database, you could actually sell your database to an agent in the area that you're moving from, and yet FSBOs and expireds, you can pick up the phone and create new business every day. So it really is an incredible opportunity. So I'd like you to write this down. What does it mean to be a great presenter? Because in order to master FSBOs and expireds, it is required that you are a great presenter. And what does that look like? There's a bold law that says logic makes them think and emotion makes them act. A great presentation has both. It has the logic, which is in the script and the words that you use. And the emotion is the energy, the confidence, the passion, the enthusiasm with which you present. Now, I want you to also write this down, and we teach this in bold. If you're a bold graduate, you're going to recognize some of this material. Only 7% of your communication comes from the words that you use, the script we give you. And 38% of your communication comes from tonality and 55% from body language. So as you could see, so many agents focus on the script, the words. The quicker you internalize, you master the script. So you can get it out of the way, meaning when you're on the phone with a FSBO and expired, you don't have to think about what to say because you own the script. The more you can focus on the 93% of your communication, which is the tonality and the body language, the energy, the excitement, the passion, the confidence with which you speak. And I want you right here to write something down for me, please. People make decisions when they're excited about the future. A great presenter is a leader, is someone who on the phone is fully present in the conversation, meaning you may have the script in front of you, and I highly recommend you do, so you have a guide or you have an outline of objections you can use. And yet, if you are reading the script, you're not able to listen intently so that you could use some of the really, really important skills that we teach in Bold and I teach you in Dominate Your Market, so you can have a powerful conversation and lead these FSBOs and expireds to give you an appointment. So people make decisions when they're excited about the future. It is your job to get them excited about the fact that you can sell this property. And not only can you sell it, in the case of a for sale by owner, you're going to benefit them financially. I spend an entire hour in Dominate Your Market going through what the title of the call is Netting FSBOs More Money. In step 3 of Bold, you watch a video from Diana, which is called the problem presentation. So this Netting FSBOs More Money is an expanded problem presentation, which is your actual listing presentation when you're in front of a FSBO. And when you get them excited about the fact that not only can you sell the property, you're going to be able to benefit them financially even after they pay the commission. They're going to say yes to meeting with you. And then when you get there, you know exactly how you're going to bring value to that seller. And this is how you're able to list a lot of for sale by owners. Expired, the same thing. Actually, I'm going to talk a little bit about FSBOs and expireds individually in just a couple of minutes. Let's go to the next thing that I want to share with you today, which are the 5 steps to handling objections. By the way, 5 steps to handling objections apply to FSBOs, expired, past clients, sphere of influence, over the phone, in person, listing presentation objections. It doesn't matter who the objection comes from or whether it's over the phone or in person. The 5 steps are the same. The reason why, again, I mentioned this earlier, FSBOs and expires are some of the toughest prospects because they typically give us a lot of objections. And understandably so. When you think about it, an expired listing, they're not very excited to talk to real estate agents the day after their property expires without selling. They hired an agent 6 months ago, were excited about the fact that the property was going to sell. Here they are 6 months later and it hasn't sold. So it's natural that they will give agents a lot of objections when we call for sale by owners. They don't think they need an agent. Think about it. They're selling on their own because They believe they can do just as good a job as an agent can. So they don't think they need an agent. In some cases, they might have had a negative experience with a real estate agent in the past. They may not like agents. They don't think, for the most part, agents are looking out for their best interest. If you've ever called a FSBOR and expired, you've heard the objection, well, you just want to take the listing, or you just want the listing. So they don't believe that we have their best interest in mind. Of course, they're going to give us a lot of objections. And this is why mastering FSBOs and expires, because they're some of the toughest objections, is going to make everything else in your business so easy. So let's go through the 5 steps. Step number 1 is listen intently to what they're saying. And I'm going to give you step number 2, and then we'll tie it into step number 1. And because you're listening to, okay, listen intently. That's it? Yeah. Why is this so critical? Step number 2 is repeat and approve everything they say. Repeat and approve the objection and what they're saying. Now, are you able to effectively repeat and approve if you're not listening intently? The answer is no. When you look at all of the scripts that we give you in Bold and Dominate Your Market, there are approval words, there are questions. And Diana teaches us, by the way, write this down, the person asking the questions controls the conversation, because you choose what questions to ask. We give you scripts, which for the most part are made up of questions. And the question is going in a certain direction. So obviously you control the conversation. Now, when they give you, okay, so we were talking about the script. The script has all of these questions, and then it has an approval word. Great, fantastic, that's exciting, good for you, whatever it is, an approval word. And when you initially start making these calls, by the way, I said earlier that the faster you internalize the script, the better off you are. Now, if all of this is new to you, or you're new to real estate and you haven't called and you don't know the script, write this quote down. For the things you have to learn before you do, you learn by doing them. Yes, you're going to practice every single day. You're going to read your script out loud like we do in Bold, because it's an amazing way for you to internalize script. And yet you can't sit back and say, well, a month from now when I know the script's better, then I'll start making calls. No, because you're going to get better from practicing every day, and you're going to get better from making calls every day. So if you're new to this, just take the script and read it to them, okay? And every call is going to, you're going to either learn something from the call, or you're going to get an appointment. If you don't get an appointment, great. It's a lesson, and you're getting better and better and better. So listen intently, repeat and approve. You're not able to repeat and approve effectively, which goes beyond the great, that's exciting, good for you, because that's an approval word, and yet it's not very conversational. If everything they say, you just say, great, that's exciting, and you keep going like that, after a minute or two, you're going to sound a little strange to them. It's like, because it's repetitive. In a real conversation, you repeat and approve. You can even paraphrase what they say without changing the meaning. And this is a critical step in handling objections. Personally, I feel is the most important one, because when you repeat and approve effectively, many times the objection goes away. In fact, when you think about handling objections over the phone, the goal is not to do that. The goal over the phone is to diffuse the objection. So most of the time when you hear an objection over the phone, you listen intently, you repeat and approve, and you redirect to a close. You say something that gets them excited about the possibility of meeting with you, and you close. Step number 3, if you are going to handle the objection, ask a question to get their attention. I'm going to give you a couple of examples for you to write down. Questions to get their attention. One of them can be, and I actually love this, one team leader from a bold room in Shreveport where I was teaching in January and February, she reminded me of this. The question is, may I tell you why that concerns me? And she added, before you say that, you go, may I tell you why that concerns me? Notice the tonality. It's the tonality of concern for them and how whatever the objection may be. I'm going to relist with the same agent. I have a friend in real estate, or I've already chosen an agent, or somebody told me they will list it for 4%. See, this may I tell you why that concerns me? Is a very versatile question to get. Versatile meaning you can use it for a lot of different objections. Another question to get their attention is, may I tell you why that can actually end up costing you money? Very versatile again. Relist with the same agent. Going to list with a neighborhood specialist. Somebody told me they'll do it for 4%. So these are two great questions to get their attention. Step number 4 is handle the objection. Now comes the dialogue, whatever you're going to say. And step number 5, close. Obviously, if you're over the phone, close for the appointment. If you're in person, close for the signature on the contract. And it's interesting that a lot of agents forget to close. In Bold, Diana teaches us that 80% of the closes happen after the 5th attempt. After you've asked 5 times, your chances of getting a yes are up to 80%. And think about this. Okay, so I asked for the appointment, and they say, well, no, call me in a week. Or let's say a for sale by owner. Yeah, I just started recently, so I want to give this some time. Call me in a week. That's an objection. So let's say you've just handled one objection, and you ask for the appointment, and they say, call me in a week. What do you do now? You go through the 5 steps again. You're going to repeat it, listen intently, repeat and approve. And remember, over the phone, many times you could skip 3 or 4. You just repeat and approve, and there's some dialogue there. I do a lot of role play, by the way, and Dominate Your Market. So you're going to, and all the calls are recorded. So you could listen to it on the call. You could listen to it as many times as you want, transcribe all of the role plays, and you're going to see how to do this and close again. What I want you to think about is, when you close for the appointment or the signature, one of 2 things will happen. Either they'll say, sure, come by at 4 o'clock, or they will give you another objection. If they give you another objection, you go through the 5 steps again. You ask again. They'll either say yes or they'll object again. If they object, you go through the 5 steps again. The process is the same. So once you learn it, you just keep closing until they say yes. Write this down. Everyone, it's actually not a Bold law. It's just something we teach in Bold. So just cross out the law. In Bold, Diana teaches us that everyone wants to look good and be right. One of the most critical skills that you are going to learn, you learn it in Bold, and I discussed it in Dominate Your Market in detail, is mirror and match. Because when you mirror and match, it creates familiarity for the listener. People like people who are like themselves. They think that the way that they are is the best way to be. And when you're like them, they feel comfortable with that communication. And typically, FSBOs and expireds are not really excited to hear from agents, especially expireds when they're brand new. If the house is just coming off the market today, yeah, they could be they're not happy, and they're frustrated, rightfully so. Mimicking or mirroring and matching is a critical skill to engage them in conversation. With a brand new expired, if you're calling an old expired or older, even if it's 2 days off the market, it's not new anymore. New got off the market today. Mirroring and matching is not so critical because they're not so frustrated and they don't have that. So I don't want to call it angry. They're just not happy people typically, okay? So when you call a new expired, you have a few seconds to engage them or you lose them. I mean, they'll hang, a new expired will hang up on you way faster than a for sale vendor. For sale vendor will keep you on the phone. They will invite you to the open house. They'll ask if you have a buyer. They'll offer you 3% commission if you have a buyer. They'll talk to you. Physicals will talk to you. And actually, it's easier to even set up a time to go preview the property. The challenge with FSBOs, which I'm going to help you master and dominate your market, is to schedule a qualified appointment, a listing appointment, not just come by and look at the house to see if you might have a buyer for it. So mirroring and matching is critical to engage these strangers, because both FSBOs and expireds, they don't know you, you don't know them. There's some resistance here because they're not looking for an agent. And mirroring and matching is that critical skill that's going to create familiarity and keep them on the phone so you can ask questions and lead to getting an appointment. Mirroring and matching means you sound like they do. You mirror and match the volume of their voice, their emotion, the speed, the rate of speech, how fast or slow they speak. And this is a skill that you could actually practice with everyone. Don't just practice when you're lead generating. You could do this with everyone, and it's magical. You'll see. And then, of course, repeating and approving. I don't think I actually said this to you when we were covering the 5 steps to handling objection. Repeating and approving makes them feel like you heard them. Everybody wants to look good and be right. So by repeating and approving, you make it clear to them. You make them feel like you are listening. You understood them. Even if you don't agree, because you don't have to necessarily, oh, I completely agree with you, because sometimes they're going to say things that you're not able to agree. And yet you could always say, I completely understand where you're coming from. That's repeating so repeating, approving, making them feel like you heard it. Because if they don't feel like you heard it and you understood them, they're going to keep bringing the same objection again and again and again or they're going to hang up on you. Because to them, it feels like you're not listening. Repeating and approving will take care of that. Now, expired listings. One of the critical pieces in the dialogues with expired listings is giving them hope. Giving them hope, because obviously after 6 months and the house not selling, a lot of them just don't, whatever the reason is they think as to why the house didn't sell, they're thinking it's either the market or it's whatever it is. And using some stats, your track record, if you're new to real estate, your market center's track record, or even your multiple listing, the average in your multiple listing, to give them hope. So let me give you a quick line to give them hope. Mr. Seller, are you aware that in the last 6 months, and I'm making up the numbers, okay, so don't go saying the numbers I'm saying, because you have to know the stats in your own market. Mr. Seller, are you aware that in the last 6 months, while your house was listed for sale, there were 5,500 residential properties that sold right here in our area? Now, all of a sudden, they're like, whoa, okay, so mine didn't sell. A lot of houses are selling. So it's possible. It's one example, and there are many that you can use effectively to give them hope. Now, for sale by owners, write down, because this is a mindset more than anything else, and it's a mindset that you got to grow into it by gaining the knowledge to be able to provide this value to them. I know, I believe and I know that FSBOs will list with the first agent who can show them that there's value in paying a commission. It makes sense that, and my experience with FSBOs, and if you've ever called FSBOs, 99.9% of them, they're selling the house on their own because they want to save the commission. Save the commission. And if they can sell the house for the same price that an agent can sell it for, they would save the commission. The challenge is, as you learn in Step 3 of Bold in Diana's problem presentation video, and again, I give you an expanded netting FSBOs more money. How is it that you can bring value and more than make up for the commission that you charge? Think about it. If you get in front of a for sale by owner and you can show them value, you can show them that paying you a commission is not going to cost them money. It's actually going to make them more money. I'm going to give you the statistics, the dialogues, the script, all that you need, the tools, the strategies, and you master that presentation, and there's no FSBO you cannot list. Okay? So real quick here, because we're coming up at the 30-minute mark. Dominate Your Market is it's a 3-month program, and you're going to be in a live 1-hour weekly call so there are total of 12 calls. And we say it's a 3-month program, and it could actually be 3.5 because we might have a week off, let's say, when there's mega camp, or if there's usually a MAPS event, we will have a week off. So either way, the total investment for the program is $297. So when you think about a 3-month program, it's $99 a month. And I like to under-promise and over-deliver, and I'm going to say something here because I believe in the value that this program offers. You sign up for Dominate Your Market, and you participate, you listen to every call, and if you're not able to be live on the call for one reason or another, one week, you listen to the recording. It's always better to be live on the call because you could be unmuted. I do a lot of role playing, so I ask for volunteers to role play. And as you know, and we teach this in Bold, the more you participate, the more you learn, the more you absorb. You sign up for this program. You listen to every call. You participate. You do what I ask you to do. And the cost of this, it's totally irrelevant because by applying what you're going to learn in this program and mastering it, you're going to make a fortune for the rest of your real estate career. I have no doubt that that's the case. So the next one actually starts a week from this Friday, June 2nd at noon Central Time. That's when we're going to have our first call. And how you would sign up for this program is, write this down. You could see it on the screen. Go to this website, getmapsnow.com, and you can click on the group. There's 2 links there. You click on group. There's a list of all the group programs in alphabetical order. You go down to Dominate Your Market, register now. You fill out your registration online, and you're good to go. And you'll get all the information, and you can join us starting next Friday. So, Paige, I'm ready for questions.
Awesome.
And I can see them.
Yeah, let's open it up for some Q&A. Can you please share, what was number 3 in the list of 5 that you went over?
The 5 steps to handling objections?
Yeah, 5 steps to handling objections.
Yeah. Number 3 was ask a question to get their attention. And I gave 2 examples. One was, may I tell you why that concerns me? And the second one, can I tell you why that can actually end up costing you money? Those are 2 questions to get their attention.
Gotcha. And then Ann just asked, what was step 4? So maybe we could just go over the 5 steps really quickly again.
Okay. Yeah, so step 1 is listen intently to what they're saying. meaning don't be in your head thinking about what you're going to say while they're talking. Step number one. Step number two, repeat and approve what they just said. Step three, ask a question to get their attention. Step four, handle the objection. Step five, close.
Gotcha. Okay, then we have from Matthew Neal. Does this program provide any tools for finding expireds and for sale by owner listings?
We don't provide you tools. I share in the program what some of the options are, some of the services that are available that you can use to get FSBOs and expireds every day. It's not included in the cost of the program. We tell you where to go for it, though.
Great. Does anyone have any additional questions? We had LaKayla that said, hi, Jackie.
Hi, LaKayla. I know exactly who you are. Great to have you here.
So I love you, Jackie, said Chris Cave. Here's one. Is dominate your market just about expired and for sale by owners?
Yes, it is. It's 12 one-hour calls focused on expireds and FSBOs. Now, let me say that a lot of the skills you're going to learn apply to every selling situation. We're going to spend an entire hour on closing. You become a great closer, and it applies to everything you do. We spend an hour on lead follow-up. So it's going to apply to, it's more focused because I give you details on how to follow up on FSBOs and expireds, and yet follow-up is follow-up. So you're going to we're going to learn about that. Mirroring, and a lot of the skills, the role plays are all focused on FSBOs and expireds. That's what this program is about. I have 1 hour, one call that's handling expired objections, handling FSBO objections. So obviously they're very specific. The call on netting FSBOs more money. And all of this material is applicable to just about anything you do. You learn how to become great at handling objections, and you're going to use it in all sales situations.
Okay, so we have a few more questions. What service do you use to get data from for sale by owner and expireds? I am in the Miami area and looking to improve my data source.
There are several options. I don't specifically recommend anyone. Some of them are tools that we actually offer while you're in Bold, and some of them are some of the services that will provide you phone numbers. ARCH, ARCH, Land Voice. Those are two that we offer in Bold. There are other companies out there. REDX, REDX is another option. So I would, and by the way, there sometimes depending on what part of the country you're in, one service may work better than another. So I don't know which one is more, would give you more numbers if you're in Miami versus in Seattle versus in Austin. You check out these companies, go online, call them, and find out how they work, what they can give you, and then choose one. I definitely recommend you use a service. Don't spend time every day going in there, because you could go in the MLS, pull up the expireds, go online, find some free websites that you could pull up phone numbers. It's very inefficient. That's time that you should be on the phone lead generating for appointments. So pay a service and let them do it for you.
Great. How do you handle, I have a friend who I'm totally obligated and committing to list it with?
Yeah, I can handle this objection now. I cover this in detail, again, in the program. I'm going to give you one way of handling it. And by the way, in Bold, Diana says that we should master 2 or 3 different ways of handling every objection, because sometimes you use one dialogue and it doesn't work. One again, that's versatile, that you could use it. First of all, when they say, I have a friend in real estate and, I'm really loyal to this friend. So that's the objection. The first thing you're going to do is repeat and approve. So that's what I would do. So if Paige, just role play with me here. Okay, just go along with the dialogue. So I would say, Paige, I completely understand that. And by the way, I appreciate the fact that you feel a sense of loyalty to your friend. And of course, I don't know who your friend is. You sound like a very smart lady. I would imagine that your friend must be a pretty good real estate agent. Otherwise, you wouldn't consider working with them, right?
Right.
Okay, time out. All of this was repeating and approving. It's making Paige feel like, okay, I don't have to, she's not saying my friend is not good. It's okay. So we could lay that to rest. Yes, it's good. Okay, so now I would say, Paige, let me ask you, if there was a significant advantage for you to work with someone other than your friend, would you consider it?
Yes, I think I would.
Great. In that case, I'd like to sit down with you for just 20 or 30 minutes and show you how I can benefit you in the sale of your property. Would 3 o'clock work today? Would 4 be better? That's one way. So, yeah. So she may say, well, she said, well, I'd consider it. Or she may say, well, I don't know. What do you mean? What significant advantage? Well, and if she says that, I would say, Paige, that's exactly why I'd like to meet with you. Would 3 o'clock work for you today? Would 4 be better? You hear how I'm closing? So, and there are other ways. If she still says, well, I don't know, my friend, we can keep going here. It's just for the sake of time today, I'm going to leave you with those two.
Great. What's the average cost of some of these for sale by owner and expired programs that you would recommend on the group coach calls? That goes back to the Larch and Land Voice, I think.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about saying what the average cost is because I really don't know. I would imagine it's somewhere between $100 and $200 a month, depending on what you sign up for, because they have different levels of service that they provide. And some of them come with an auto dialer, so you don't have to manually be touching numbers to dial, which I highly recommend also. So I would say probably between $100 and $200 a month. And it's an irrelevant amount of money, because if you're really committed to mastering this material, you can list. When I was selling real estate, I was on average taking 16 to 20 FSBO and expired listings a month. Just imagine the amount of money you're going to make. So it's worth every penny of what you would pay for these services.
Okay, then we have thoughts on door knocking versus calling.
FSBOs and expired. I believe that when you're in person, it's a lot easier, to communicate with people. You have your body language. You're physically there, facial expressions, which make a huge difference in communication. So I think it's great. I'm not opposed to it. I've never door knocked FSBOs and expired, only because of efficiency situation. Okay, it's going to take a lot more time for you to get in your car. Even if you create a route that makes sense to go from one house to the other, it's going to take a lot more time. And then you show up and nobody's home. And so over the phone, you can get through and talk to a lot more people. And for sale by owners, as an example, they typically answer the phone because their house is for sale and they don't know who's calling. They're hoping it's a buyer, so they pick up the phone. Yes, over the phone, it takes more mastery of skills and script to be able to communicate powerfully. It's a lot easier for somebody to hang up the phone on you than it is for them to slam the door on your face. And yet, from an efficiency meaning getting more done in less time, the phone is better. I don't have anything against door knocking, though.
Okay. Best way for finding phone numbers for expireds or FSBOs?
Using one of the services that I mentioned earlier, for sure. You gotta pay for and use one of those services.
Gotcha. Is They're a reduced cost for reviewers. I'm guessing that means, is there a discount for attending this webinar? There is no discount at this time. It is $297, the cost of the program.
Yeah, it's already, it's honestly not because I coach this program at this price. It's a gift. You show up to every call, you're going to use the ideas and you're going to make a lot of money. What else, Paige?
We've got Jackie. You put emphasis on not handling the objection over the phone. However, step 4 of handling the objection is to handle the objection. When is it appropriate to handle the objection over the phone?
When you hit a roadblock, and that is like you hit a wall, meaning either they say they're going to hang up on you anytime, meaning I got to go, or they sound really rushed and you know this call is about to end. If you're listening intently, you will know. You will know when you get to a point where if you don't say something really substantial here, meaning you handle this objection, this call is going to end. That's when I would handle it. Great. Otherwise, I'm just going to listen intently, repeat and approve and close, and keep closing until they say yes.
Cool. We've just got just a few more. From Ryan, how often do you follow up with expires and FSBOs after the initial appointment if you do not close them? And how do you follow up with them? By email, phone, or email?
I would always, this is me personally, okay, always follow up with a phone call. Remember when you, and I know, you know, young generation, everybody's texting, and I'm not opposed to texting or sending an email. I would also call, always. When you text, all you have are the words, which are 7% of your communication. You got to talk to people. You're not going to, the power in your communication is you and how you say what you say. So I personally would always follow up by calling. And what was the first part of that question, Paige? Could you repeat it for me?
Sure.
How often?
Sorry. How often do you follow up with expireds and FSBOs after the initial appointment if you do not close them?
As often as necessary to get the appointment. And that could be, it really is going to depend whether, if you didn't close them on the first call, why is it? Is it because of a condition? Is it because of an objection? If it is an objection, obviously you weren't able to overcome it on the initial call. So if I talked to an expired 2 hours ago and they gave me an objection and I wasn't able to overcome it, when I'm done with my call for the day, I'm going to be thinking about, okay, how could I have responded to that? And the minute I figure it out, I'm calling them back. It could be 2 hours later. So new expired for sale by owners, these are high impact calls. These are people who want to sell. And in most areas, there's some competition. You're not the only agent calling. So if you wait too long to call, somebody else is going to list that house. So how often you call? I have a rule on how often to follow up so you never lose one of your leads to another agent. Follow up obsessively, meaning until you get them. And it's not about being pushy. It's about bringing value, coming from contribution. If you believe that hiring you is the best thing they can do and you're the best agent in the area, you're never going to come across as pushy because it's always going to be about helping them achieve their goal. And you can never call them enough. These are people who are interested in selling.
Okay, what's the best way to start a conversation with a for sale by owner?
What is the best way to start? And there are many scripts you can use. If you take bold, we give you bold scripts. In Dominate Your Market, I give you scripts as well. The opening line that you'll find in the Dominate Your Market script is, "Hi, this is Jackie. I'm a real estate agent here in the area. I noticed that you have your house for sale. Looks like you're selling it yourself. And I'm calling you today because I work with a lot of buyers and sellers in the area. I'm just calling to see how things are working out for you. That is one option. There are many others. In Bold, we give you a lot of scripts, and in Dominate Your Market, we give you a lot of dialogues as well.
Okay. What are the best times to call? Did you have success calling in the evening?
Yes, evening is a good time. Best time is in the morning for so many reasons. A brand new expired, the first agent who speaks with a new expired has the highest probability of getting an appointment and going out and listing that property. That's my mindset. And for sale by owners, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be the first one. That's not going to make a difference on whether you list them or not. In the morning, you have more energy, fewer distractions. And people answer the phone. I've always did all my lead generation in the morning. And I think as I started, like my first and second year, I was making a lot of calls evenings and weekends because I wasn't working full time. And there were days if I didn't set an appointment in the morning and I don't have an appointment in the evening, I'd make some calls in the evening. So sure, best time in the morning. No questions about it. That's when everybody should be lead generating.
Awesome. So John actually has two questions. The first is, curious, will you be using KW scripts and or the ones you created to grow your business before joining MAPS?
I'm using the ones that in Dominate Your Market. You're going to learn the scripts that I use and how I listed FSBOs and expireds. And by the way, they're very similar. They're little, well, there's a big thunderstorm here. I don't know if you guys can hear a lot of thunder. It just started. That's a little distracting, and the lights are flickering. So the script that you're going to learn and Dominate Your Market is what I use. How I handle objections in the program is obviously how I handled them when I was selling real estate. All of the scripts are very similar. They're made up of questions. It's the way so many agents are very focused on the script. What are you going to say? Is there something really different or special about the script? You're going to learn what I used when I was listing 150 FSBOs and expireds a year, and yes, it's not the words that you're using that matter most. It's how you are delivering the script, because you can have 10 agents calling the same person using the same script. One of them is going to stand out because of how they're delivering that script. That's a big focus of this program too, teaching you how to deliver the words.
Awesome. Will we be able to listen to some of your past success calls, getting an appointment to help internalize?
I don't have any of those calls available. I do a lot of role playing on the phone, so you're going to hear how I would handle a call or handle objections and all of that stuff, because I do a lot of role playing in the program, and those calls are going to be recorded, so you can go back and listen to them as many times as you want.
Great. Thank you, Jackie. We have three more questions, and then we will wrap that up. How early in the morning? 9 a.m., she asked, Fabiola, or he or she asked?
I am not going to give you a specific time. You speak with your team leader. Make sure you're not breaking any market center policies or state laws or any laws on what time you can call. The goal with calling only new expireds. The new expireds are the only ones that make a difference in how early you call, okay? Everybody else, it doesn't matter if you call at 9, 9:30, or 8 or 8:30. It's only the brand new expireds that really matter. Personally, and again, how early you call also depends on what part of the country you're in. Some markets that are very competitive, like South Florida and certain parts of Southern California, very competitive. A lot of agents calling. 9 a.m. would be late. by 9 a.m., you're probably like the 50th agent to call. Depending, I remember years ago, I coached a client in Santa Barbara, California, and we were having this conversation. How you know how early you should call is basically trial and error. If you call an expired and you expired at 9 a.m. and they say, gosh, you're the 20th agent to call me this morning, you're calling a little too late because the goal is to be one of the first. And this one agent in Santa Barbara, he was starting expireds at 10 a.m. and nobody was calling ahead of him. So for him, 10 a.m. was early enough. So those are the things that I would take into consideration before you decide what time you should call.
Okay, great. Two more. Do you have any experience with investment and commercial real estate? From Dan.
I don't. Investment, just my personal investment properties. I never focused on selling investment properties. Commercial, no.
Okay. What do you do when they block your number other than going to the house or mailing them something? From Stan.
Wow, blocking your number. Interesting. I guess the only choice you have now is to go to the door. I'd be interested in knowing why my number was blocked in the first place. You know, I mean, that sounds a little extreme. I'm not sure what happened or how often this is happening. If I'm coaching somebody one-on-one and this is happening, I'm going to ask a lot of questions to see why it's happening. If it's just a one time this happened, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I'd just go on and keep calling people and improving my skills so I can have powerful conversations and get people excited about working with me. I guess the only choice would be go to the door. If you have an email address, sure, you could email it as well.
Okay, great. Well, Jackie, we've got a lot of people saying thank you so much, and
Yes,
I want to thank
pleasure.
you. This has been a fabulous webinar, and I look forward to Dominate Your Market, and we hope to see all of you guys there. We will be sending out the webinar to this. We will be sending out the recording from this webinar, and again, thank everyone for attending today.
Thank you, Paige. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun, and my intention is for you to have learned some things that you can apply and go make some money with Fizzles and Expires. Thanks again, Paige. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.